Hello beautiful people, this is Melly Mel coming at you with another video. This one will be a quick cooking video, and today I'm going to cook some jambalaya, so if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, we're going to start off with just showing some of the ingredients that we're going to have inside this jambalaya. This particular jambalaya is going to be kind of like a Creole chicken sausage jambalaya. And so let's get started with the ingredients that are going to go on the inside. Okay, I have most of the ingredients prepped already, as far as chicken breast is going to go inside it. And this is like kielbasa sausage that I already have cut up. This is probably about 1.5 that comes in a pack. Depends on how much meat you want in there. Depends on how much you use. I kind of squared off or cubed off some chicken breast. I think I did maybe like 5 medium-sized chicken breasts. And again, this just depends on, I don't necessarily have exact measurements, so this isn't necessarily going to be a tutorial per se, but it's more like you're in the kitchen with me when I'm cooking, and maybe you can just adjust the amounts as you would like it. Okay, we're going to have some celery in this one. This particular recipe would call for some scallions, but I didn't want to use scallions in this recipe. But if you like them, you're more than welcome to use it. This is chopped up onion and 3 different bell pepper. It's the red, green, and yellow bell pepper. We're going to have rice in it, of course. You're not going to have jambalaya without rice. We're going to have some Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. And I'm going to use a little grapeseed oil. I'm just going to use just a very little bit of this to put in the skillet as I'm cooking the meat. This just helps keep the meat from sticking to the pan. And we have a little Worcestershire sauce. Some chicken broth. If you make your own, that's good. Or it's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be this 99% fat free. You can use, I guess, whatever kind you want. And I'm going to use a little Italian seasoning to put on my chicken. I think my chicken, a little bit of that as it's cooking. Use a little oregano. Probably use a couple of bay leaves. Some basil. I want to use fresh basil, but it costs too much for me personally in the store. I was not going to pay the price for it. A little sage, paprika, salt and pepper, and I use sea salt. And we have diced tomatoes. I have 2 different cans of those. Diced tomato. I guess you can use whatever kind you like. Well, this is one stewed one, and oops, like I said, one is a diced one. And let's get started with the preparation of it. Well, since that part is, oh, almost forgot, also some garlic. I'm going to mince this up too. And let's get started. Okay, we're going to get started on this part. I like to preheat my skillet to have it just like tempered some. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in. And grapeseed oil has a pretty good high flash point, so it keeps stuff from sticking and burning pretty well. I'm just going to put a little bit in. And I'm going to coat the pan. And I'm going to actually put the sausage in to cook this. This should help the sausage from sticking straight to the pan too. And add a little flavor to the food as well. So yeah, you can hear it starting to fry up faster. Since, like I said, I preheated the skillet. And so I'm going to cook this sausage for probably about 5 minutes. Try to let it brown up some. Okay, as the sausage is cooking over there, I'm going to go ahead and try to prep my chicken now. I really like my chicken to be more on the drier side, because I'm going to put it in to brown as well in that pan. So I'm going to put it on some paper towels to try to separate it, and I'm going to pat it down to get the excess water out of it. And then I'm going to put a little seasoning on it. I'm going to put a little bit of that Italian seasoning on there. And yeah, I think I'm just going to do a little Italian seasoning on there, because all the other seasonings I'm going to add to the dish as we go. So this is just taking the chicken out the container right now, and I'm going to pat it down with additional paper towel. Okay, I put the Italian seasoning on the chicken breast. As you may have noticed, when I dice mine up, before I dice it up, I make sure I cut off all the excess, all the excess fat that's on the chicken breast. Because, yeah, that's something I don't like to have inside of the chicken breast. So I've added the Italian seasoning once again. And so now the sausage is pretty much browned. And I'm going to go ahead and add the onions and bell pepper and the celery and the garlic. Yeah, I'm going to add that inside so I can get those nice and tender and get those cooking. I'm going to add those inside the sausage mixture. Okay, here's the sausage, pretty much browned. I turned the heat down a little bit on them. I'll make it turn up just a tad. I turned it down a little bit. And so here's the celery and the garlic. Garlic is minced or diced up. I'm going to add that to it. And I'm going to add those green peppers and onion mixture inside it as well. And get those started. Just going to cook this mixture for probably about 4 minutes, and then we'll continue on to the next ingredients that will be added to this. Okay, now that we've given that enough time to be able to cook, the vegetables are nice and tender in here. We're going to go ahead and add the chicken that was seasoned with that Italian seasoning. And we're also going to go ahead and add this Worcestershire sauce. This is about 1 1/3 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to put the chicken in first and then I'll put that in on top. So it's just going to be simple. Just going to add the chicken in. And we're going to let this brown in here. And then we'll come back to it. Okay, I said we're going to let it brown. We're not going to let it brown. Excuse me. We're going to let it cook all the way through so that there's no pink left in the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and add the Worcestershire sauce in there now as well. And then we're going to go ahead and cook the chicken down until, once again, there's no pink left in it. So it's on its way already. Okay, now the chicken has that pink that's no longer visible in it. So we're going to go ahead and add our other ingredients to this. I'm trying to keep it as organized as possible, so I tried to make sure I measured out everything before I'm getting started instead of doing it a little bit at a time. And here I went ahead and put my ingredients up because I already measured out everything. And so I put them in these separate ramekins or cup dispensers. And in this particular cup I added the paprika, salt, pepper mixture into this one. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle and try to flatten this down a little bit. Go ahead and sprinkle that all throughout. In this particular recipe, for this amount, I added about a teaspoon, maybe just a little over a teaspoon of all of my dry ingredients, herbs. I mix that in. And then in this next ramekin, I put more of the green herbs. Only non-green herb in here is the Tony Saturins, but the oregano, the sage, the basil, and of course 2 bay leaves. And all of these, like I said, are about 1 1/3 teaspoon of all of those herbs. Sprinkle those all throughout. I'm going to mix those in. And I think I'm going to wait to put the bay leaf in for just another minute because I don't want it to break up, because I'm going to take the bay leaves out of it after it's done. So I don't want it to be all crushed up in there because I'm mixing this stuff together as I'm going. So far it's looking good already, if I must say so myself. Okay, after I put those ingredients in, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in my tomatoes. And I'm going to keep the juice in it, because that's what's going to help flavor the jambalaya. These are stewed tomatoes. If you don't like stewed tomatoes, you don't have to use it. You can use regular diced tomatoes. I like that because it has a little bit flavoring already in it. It has a little, the garlic, oregano, and basil already in that one. So you just have a little extra flavor. I'm going to add in these diced tomatoes as well. And if I had 2 cans of stewed tomatoes, I probably would have used 2 cans of stewed tomatoes and not necessarily the diced tomatoes, because I like it a little bit more whole, the tomatoes to be a little bit more chunky, have a little more bite to it. Try to mix this up a little bit more. And then I'm going to add the chicken broth in, and then I'm going to bring the heat up a little bit so I can get like a little boil to it, and then I'm going to add the rice after that. So I'm going to go ahead and add the chicken broth. This is about 20 ounces of chicken broth for this particular amount of food that I'm making. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that together. And once I mix this, I'm going to go ahead and put these bay leaves in as well. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to let this come to a medium boil, and I'll add the rice. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and put on top on it to try to help initiate a medium boil. And let me see if it has like a medium boil going on. And it does. Oh, sorry for that steam. So since the medium boil has started, I'm going to mix it up a little bit again. And I'm going to go ahead and add the rice. And I'm going to try to get a more higher boil going on for probably about a minute or so. And then I'm going to lower the heat down, and I'm going to let it simmer, cook maybe about 30 minutes or so. This right here is probably about a cup and a half of rice. And my personal preference with rice is parboiled rice. But whatever your favorite rice is, I'm sure it really won't matter which one you use. But like I said, my preference is parboiled. I'm going to go ahead and mix this rice in. And I'm going to let it come to a boil once again. And as I said, I'm going to go ahead and after it comes to that boil again, I'm going to lower the heat and let it cook for about 30 minutes or so. And depending on how you want your jambalaya to come out, if you like it a little more thicker, you would cook it a little bit longer. As you cook it, you don't want it to be as soupy, but you do want to have some moisture in it. So if you like it more moist, then roughly about 30-35 minutes, and just add a little bit more time if you like it a little more on the drier side of jambalaya. So I'll come back and let you see once it has its chance to cook down. Okay, beautiful people, this is the final product of the jambalaya. I cooked it, like I said, about 35 minutes at this point in time, and this is the consistency of what it looks like. You can see all the chicken and sausage and celery, bell pepper, and all that stuff that's in there. So this is it. And if you decide you want to try to make this recipe as well, feel free to leave me a response video. I love watching all types of videos, and cooking videos would be awesome as well. Or any other video that you've tried, a new recipe or just a recipe you want to share, feel free to do a response video underneath. So I'm about to chow down, and hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.